Gary! What are you doing?
Shining up my ATV.
Why?
Because it's dirty.
From now on, your name will be Sally.
Hi, Sally. Hi.
More vehicles, more tracks. ATV Off-Road Fury 4. Rated E for everyone. The Dirt Gods are pleased.
So you're still waiting for that email, huh?
Fuck you, Ryan. Fuck you, not today.
Okay. Fuck you too. Woo!
God, these fucking dicks.
What? Dude, what is it this time?
Fucking World of Warcraft.
I saw an herb over there. There's
I
an
hate
herb.
it when there's loot lag.
You should grab that herb on your right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time on like picking up herbs.
Oh, what are you doing?
Hey!
Great, you're playing World of Warcraft The Burning Crusade. That's excellent.
Yeah, wait, are you on Hellfire or are you on PvP or PvE on the beta?
I'm on both.
Yeah, I'm on neither. Me.
So hold up.
There's a email snafu. And so I'm on the sidelines while you guys are in the game.
Luke Smith not playing WoW.
Whatever.
Get out of town.
What are you going? Well, I mean,
I'm
what's,
just checking
what's it
out.
like? All I've done is watch videos because I don't get to play it.
Oh. I'm sorry. It's been good. I'm right now in the Outlands area, where you go in from the gate from the Blasted Lands, and it's pretty scary because usually before the expansion pack, it's, you know, you don't really dare go in there because there's all these monsters and blah, blah, blah. But now finally when you do get to go in, it's kind of crazy because you're like, wow, I'm actually going to do something really important in terms of like the game.
I walked through the gate and I was like literally dead within 30 seconds because there's that huge dude like right at the foot of the stairs, just kind of raining hell down on everybody, and so I thought I'd go up there and take a swing at him.
Did you see the crust bursters? They're like these crazy worms, the sandworms that like hang out, like they're like tremors. And this is like the first point when I'm like, wow, this is a whole like new addition to like the backgrounds, the characters, and new like places, and it really feels different.
There's like new skinned creatures then? It's
Yeah.
not like a bunch of, because you go around right now.
Spider.
Okay, because there's a lot of like rehashed, creature models, so this is a lot of new stuff you're saying.
Yeah.
There was this thing called a raging colossus or some kind of colossus. This is a really big dude, and as you whittle him down, he gets smaller and like pops off like little spawns, like little copies of him that are wailing on you.
Not enough energy. That ability isn't ready. That ability isn't ready. I can't do that. Not ready. I can't do that. That ability isn't ready.
I was able to do some of the first instances, like Hellfire Ramparts and Blood Furnace, and they're pretty easy. Like my dude's got, he's got decent gear. We've been like raiding BWL and that kind of stuff, and we got through Hellfire Ramparts in like an hour or so. It's kind of cool because you can just jump in and do it pretty quickly. It's not like a big commitment. But then at the same point, it's kind of depressing because like I already got these like blue quest reward boots from that instance that are better than Bloodfang boots that I've spent like, I don't want to say how long I spent like trying to get that shit.
So I mean that's sort of the thing though, is like there's so much new gear and it's all scaled so that people don't need to come from like a raiding guild in Burning Crusade. They can just sort of go in, run through the first instance, and find new stuff.
Yeah, it's like everyone's starting over, which is kind of good and kind of horrible.
It actually took me quite a few days for my character to copy over, my 60 to copy over, so I fooled around with the Draenei and the Blood Elf, which actually is really cool, because now when you think about starting a new character like as a dwarf or as a tauren, you're like, oh man, I have to be in the Lobi zone. It's like really boring, and it's a plain, or it's a desert, or it's a snowy mountain. But the new areas are really cool, and because both of the races, their starting areas are outside of the two continents and Outlands, it's actually really big. The starting areas are pretty expansive. And it's really fun because it's not just like, here, go collect this, and then go to, Ironforge. You're in there for a while, and there's different areas, and it's pretty fun. There's new enemies too. The monsters in Outlands are insane, and so are the environments, and it's all very beautiful.
I'm out of range. I need to get closer. I can't do that yet. I don't have enough energy. I need to get closer. I need to get closer.
Big dude down there. Go shoot
Yeah,
him.
no.
See what happens when you shoot him.
Oh, he's dead.
Holy shit.
Nice.
I'll be at my desk mashing send receive.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, I think there's some herbs like right up around the corner.
God, why are you so hung up on herbs?
We need herbs. You're low.
Toner low, what the hell? What the? Oh, dude, it's so fucking off.
Polio.
Hey, what's up, Chairman?
Yo, Shane. How's life?
Oh, you know, same old, same old.
Been doing anything groovy lately? Anything interesting?
We're on deadline, but still playing Castlevania, even though we don't review it for a month.
Wait, a month?
Yeah, we've had that thing for a few weeks now.
Well, yeah, I know. I've kind of played it a little. What do you think so far?
Well, much like this Diet Coke, which I buy and drink every day, it's dependably good.
Dependably good. Don't you like a little more in your games, though? A little more variety, a little more spice?
Well, there is variety. The whole two-character thing, it's completely different than the last game.
Well, I don't know, because the last game had the extra mode where you could switch between Julius and Soma, or not Soma, but, you know, the
chick,
Julius
the
mode.
hot chick.
Yes, the hot chick.
Yeah, but this time you're constantly switching. You use it for puzzles. The girl is completely different. It really does make the game feel different.
What's interesting about the game, at least from my perspective, is the way the structure is a little different. Actually, that's what really struck me as being the most unique element, because it's got the the open-ended, non-linear style in the castle, but then each of the levels are levels. They're missions. Right. They're kind of linear. You go through them. They're more action-oriented. It's almost like the Castlevania team's trying to marry the current style of the Castlevania games with the more traditional style.
Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting the Castlevania games to get out of the castle for like the last 4 games, because you do kind of get sick of being in a maze the whole time. Because there are these isolated individual things that aren't really connected, it kind of makes the game feel a little less cohesive. But I do think it's cool that you get to go to like these other places.
I don't know, it actually kind of reminds me of the style of Mega Man's X, where you have like a central kind of hub, and then you have separate areas that are all still interconnected with warp points and everything.
Right.
I kind of feel like some of the missions needed a little more challenge. Like, to really get that old Castlevania style, you gotta kick the gamer's ass occasionally.
The bosses are hard though. I mean,
the bosses are
hard,
much
much harder than the
getting
last
there
few
is still
games.
kind of like, it's a slog from point A to B, and you're basically finding items and getting more experience. Where, the old Castlevanias, like, the levels were a challenge in themselves. The bosses were just kind of the cherry on top of all of that. Although I guess if you play as Charlotte, the game is pretty tough.
Terrible. Like the first half of the game, she's completely weak. I mean, I almost never switched to her as like my main.
She's
fighter.
useless for fighting. She's useless for physical attacks, but she's really great for backup. Like, I think most people are going to play it with Jonathan, the main character, whipping and slicing his way through the game.
Out her
and then,
special attacks. That's very powerful. Yeah.
Although, there are some battles where you have to play as her. Like, it's impossible not to. There are a lot of places where you have to do things in tandem, where the choice of character you're using or how they work together is important. I like some of the little gimmick elements, which is what they're calling them. I'm not actually using the word gimmick. But, like the train cart, where you have to stand on a platform, get one person in the train, and then, like, switch over really fast so that you ride the train all the way to the end and break through the wall.
And I didn't miss the soul system as much as I thought I would, because I really loved that in the last game, because it gave you a real incentive to like fight lots of enemies and collect stuff. But because you still get like the summon spells for her, then it kind of replaces that.
Between all the different weapons that Jonathan's collecting, the special items and weapons, the stuff that you're earning by talking to Wind and doing his little missions.
Well, those quests, those are new. These kind of like GTA style side missions you do, where they give you like a vague clue, like go to this room and do this thing, but it's not always clear where that is or what exactly you're supposed to do. So
no, there's definitely a lot of trial and error, and I think that's a lot of the fun of the game. Although I'm sure a lot of people will get bored of looking for some random enemy that appears in some level without actually knowing which level to go to.
As a Castlevania nerd, I did appreciate that. It was another reason to like really get into the game. How do you feel it like stacks up in terms of graphics and sound to Dawn of Sorrow?
You think it does?
I think it does.
the backgrounds are not nearly as good. I really liked.
There's more 3D.
No, there's less 3D.
What?
There's way less 3D.
There's more parallax.
No, like half the areas in Dawn of Sorrow had 3D backgrounds, like actual 3D backgrounds. There was a lot of depth. I mean, it was almost like they looked at the cathedral in Symphony of the Night and said, "We want the whole game to look like this." With Portrait of Ruin, it's more 2D backgrounds that have more parallax, more layers, but it doesn't actually have as many 3D items.
That's true. In the beginning, there's like a lot of 3D, but then it kind of goes away.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know, the backgrounds are not very consistent throughout the game. Like
stylistic.
There are certain parts of the castle that look like they were drawn in the anime style as the characters, but then there are others that have kind of a pseudo-realistic style, and then there's like the weird distorted painting inside of that. And I feel like either they should have tried to keep it all consistent, or they should have like gone all out and like said, well, we're doing portraits, so let's have an impressionistic section, let's have a surrealistic section.
That would have been
awesome.
It's like a pop art section.
Yeah, where you're like fighting Liechtenstein or something.
But you're not down on it. You're still
no. I mean, come on, it's Castlevania.
It's Castlevania. It's like
there have been bad Castlevanias, but not in a while.
I think the last bad
At
one
least
was,
not in 2D.
I argue the Circle of the Moon is not that great.
Oh, well, I'm not going to argue with that.
Let's play! Let's play! Let's go!
I hope nobody thinks we're down on this game, because it is like one of the best DS series. It's so meaty. You can just like, you get it and you're just so into it. You don't want to put it down. You're addicted. I had to give you my copy because I couldn't stop playing it. Like,
well, you gave me like 2 days to play it, and I finished the game and unlocked the bonuses. So yeah. So obviously I like it. I don't do that for games that I.
Right. This is one of those games where you drop everything and you just like motor through it. I can't wait to play it again.
Yeah. I'll be happy to take your copy back from you anytime.
Yeah, there's a waiting list right now for that copy.
Charlotte! Let's go!
Jonathan!
I don't know. I mean, there have been so many other games to be excited for, especially this fall. I haven't been following Rainbow Six really, especially, but I was an old Rainbow Six fan from the original Xbox One, and like when we started to play it again, and like we were on some of the old map, like Streets and
Kill House,
like especially Streets, like the old feeling came back, like run into the window and like watching for somebody peeking out, and the cover system is awesome.
Like I've always liked the way that Gears of War handled the cover system. But I think a lot of people don't like the way that when you hit A, even if you're like 5 or 6 feet away, it kind of slams you into the cover. But in this one, because you hold down the L trigger to get on and off of cover, like
it's like visceral, It's like we were talking about, like. If you think you should be able to do it, you can do it. Like if you're up against a wall, you come up to a corner, and then if you no-look shoot, you can no-look shoot. And not get a reticle, or you can lean over and then shoot and you get a reticle. You can zoom in, you can throw a grenade over there, you can, if you crouch, get up, you can do like everything you can do while you're up and leaning.
And like you were just saying, the 360 cover fire. In Gears, you'll see it all the time where someone's in cover and like the enemy runs around the cover and flanks, and then you have to come off of cover, and there's this moment where it's weird and awkward where the two guys are close together. And in this one you can just stay on cover, and as they come around you just track them, and fire at them the whole time. It's excellent.
You can even just lean straight back and fire forward as track of guys are coming across your screen, and then all in one single motion. It's like seamless, And that's my favorite part about the entire multiplayer experience.
I was climbing up a rope and I saw somebody and I'm like, oh god, I'm just dead. I didn't even think that I could shoot at them, but you can. having those grapple ropes really changes the maps. It makes everything much more 3D. And like Streets, for example, those 2 windows that are always on the front, if you wanted to leave, you had to go, all the way down the steps, and you knew that if you were outside the place. Now you can just jump out, grab the rope, slide down.
But it's really dangerous to just like hop on the ropes.
Yeah, totally.
Like, even though you can fire when you're on the ropes, it's not the easiest spot to fire from.
Right.
And like most of the Clancy games, the weapons are really strong. So like 1 shot, 4 shots,
Right.
it doesn't take that much to kill someone. The modes we were playing, there was a team deathmatch, there's like a standard deathmatch. We played survival modes, which are essentially like, instead of being able to respawn, you only have 1 life.
Right.
And so we played one of their modes called Attack and Defend, which is essentially like bomb defusal from Counter-Strike.
Right.
But because you're playing with these cool weapons and you have the awesome cover, like it feels really good. It doesn't feel like you're just playing, another game of Counter-Strike.
Right.
Like instead of choosing a class in like some of the other shooters, like, I'm gonna be a scout or I'm gonna be a sniper or whatever, like fuck that. And this one you just like gear yourself up
You
the exact
outfit yourself to be a scout
exactly.
or like a heavy duty guy.
When you're customizing your character, you can put on like a set of clothes first and adjust all the camo settings for that. And you can also add armor on, and there's little meters at the bottom that let you know how heavy you are and how protected you are.
Right.
So you get to choose like, I just want to go out in my fucking day clothes, and at that point you're super fast, but you're 1 shot may kill you. But if you put a whole bunch of armor on yourself, then you're going to be a lot stronger.
We were both put into Rainbow Six.
That's true.
And like,
It's exciting, yeah.
like it worked even better than I thought.
And you look up a little bit more. Don't look just still look at the camera.
Right. Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, way
Much better. Tilt your head a bit.
I can tilt the camera.
Oh, there you go.
That should look good. Now put your head on your left shoulder.
Okay.
Like stay there, but just I gotta get your profile.
Oh,
Just go
right.
like this.
Okay.
Okay, I thought you were.
All right, we're ready.
All right. Press on E again, and we.
So
Couple of seconds.
Like basically mug shots.
Yeah.
Is what you use.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't just texture onto the face. It creates the mesh from the 2 photos, and like the lighting in the room we were in was kind of dark.
It
wasn't
kind
the
of
best.
bad.
All right. Okay, now your turn.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Check it out, Cesar. Awesome.
Like looking over and just seeing that it was Ryan,
yeah,
or that it was
yeah.
you, like that's like fucking cool. Or
Yeah.
like killing somebody and then looking over and seeing like, oh yeah, it was.
It's gonna be awesome when
Yeah.
all of our friends are playing and then everyone's got their custom face in there.
Yeah.
When he turned your character sideways, I could see like the distinct mark nose and like the chin and
Right,
everything.
right,
You know, it was
right,
pretty.
The distinct mark receding hairline.
Yeah, they put my hair back, so I kind of looked like I was a little bald.
Yeah,
like
it was
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a demo room where they have a bunch of games like
Track
machines
lighting and
and
whatnot,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's supposed to be dark in there. But I
Right.
think when people are sitting in their rooms, like and they can control the lighting, like I don't know. I feel like you're gonna be able to make some pretty real looking faces.
You can put on, all those different kinds of armor, custom camo for every little piece. Like,
Put scars on.
yeah, the different face paint.
The standard head models that will appear in both in multiplayer and in single player on the models look much better than the ones
Oh,
that you
yeah,
can create with your
noticeably
camera.
better.
Noticeably better, but there's something so cool about having your face.
I mean,
in
that
there.
was definitely the best instant face mapping I've ever
Way than
seen.
like Tony Hawk or
Yeah.
any of those other camera games.
And I'm sure like a lot of people are gonna take famous faces. Like you can take,
Oh, yeah.
if you take a famous face, all you need is like a profile and a front-on shot, and you can make the custom.
You'd be playing
face
Jack
mesh
Bauer
for
in the,
Rainbow Six.
And then you had that great idea that we didn't get to try. But like, what if you do like someone's face straight on and then someone else's face from the side?
Yeah.
Like, would it look
See
like
if
Conan
they're
O'Brien's like
maybe.
fucking, if they made it? Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be totally sweet.
So we finally saw the first level, and strangely, even though the game's called Rainbow Six Vegas, the
Right.
first level takes place in Mexico, which is funny because it actually looks kind of a lot like Graw, even though it's, the levels definitely look different. It's not like you're playing the same game or anything like that.
I'm kind kind of glad the entire game doesn't take place in Vegas, because I know sometimes you're in casinos, sometimes you're in like buildings being built and stuff like that, but it just seems like no matter how many different places within Vegas you go, it would eventually is going to limit it.
The Mexico they made was so much more detailed and like real and visceral than the Mexico that was, you know, you had in Gra.
And the Gra one looked great already.
No, it looked great. Don't get me wrong, it looked incredible. You know, you saw little flags waving off in the distance. You heard babies crying.
Yeah.
You saw like cars, you know, off in the side, like in the dust. You saw. It was incredible the amount of detail they can put in that.
It's going to be interesting to see how good the AI is in the game, because they say it ramps up.
Right.
And of course, in the first level, they wanted it to be pretty easy so that you get to hang up the controls and all that stuff.
But the marking your guys too, that is really cool, because I mean, you've always been able to like use your other guys in Rainbow Six, but I kind of didn't do it much after, you know, like after the novelty of it wore off. But like when they were doing that is super, super useful, because you mark 2 guys for your other guys to take out with the back button, and then you go around to another door, find like a 3rd or 4th guy, and then, you know, give them the signal. They go in, they know right where those 2 guys are, they take them out, and then you take out whoever's left in the room.
Confirmed. Open and clear. Sir. Enemy down. Hostile down. Well done.
They're still not talking about the PS3 version. We
Right.
played 360, and I'm still positive that's the one I think I'm going to want to play, especially now that the Xbox Vision camera thing.
Live too, like
and live. Plus all my
fun.
friends already have 360s, so I don't need to worry about them picking up a new console that they can't find anywhere to be able to play the game.
That's true, yeah.
So I really think that the 360 version is going to be the version to buy.
I mean, if I didn't need, you know, any other reason, like my friends being on Xbox Live, that face mapping thing, like it's
super cool.
When you see it, you know, you know about it and everything, and then when you see your own face, it's just like
it's super funny,
yeah.
especially if it makes you look 20 years older. Aside from the little innovations like the 360 cover fire and stuff like that, it's not super innovative in any way. It's pretty much Rainbow Six.
It's Rainbow Six, like with even more of the like details taken care of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a little more freedom. Definitely, you know, like the way better graphics. That's what it feels like to me. It's like Rainbow Six amped up, which is what has me excited about it, because being an old Rainbow Six fan, you know, not the last couple, but from Rainbow Six 3.
Yeah. Basically, it's like Rainbow Six 3 2.
And it's like Gears could be totally awesome. It's going to be definitely its own different kind of thing. But this is like you can like take this multiplayer to the bank. It was really like when you saw it when you played online, you know, multiplayer Halo 2. It was like at its heart, you know, it was Halo 1 with different weapons and different balance and all that. But it was like, you know, this is good.
Hey Cesar, come here for a sec. Do you like this? Do you like this color correction right here?
All right.
Yeah, like
you guys.
the machine.
What's up?
You guys coming to this PS3 thing at all?
What's the deal with it?
I think they're gonna announce all their final launch plans. Hopefully, like all the details. Get to play some games. Probably some newer builds.
Oh hell yeah, I want to go.
No. We're gonna stay. We gotta finish the show.
Oh right. Okay. All right. We'll bring some stuff back.
Yeah. Bring me a PS3.
Yeah, me too. Bring me too.
Yeah.
See you in a few hours.
Later. All right. So let's get back to it.
So we just saw the Gamers Day presentation. What do you guys think? We saw like basically the network seemed to be the big focus, the downloadable games, that sort of thing.
I think it was impressive. I mean, every feature you could imagine was represented there. There's almost nothing that Xbox Live offers that isn't represented.
You know, one thing I noticed that I didn't see is you can see your friends and you can see if they're online or not, but it didn't show what game they were playing.
You click on it, does.
Oh, really? And you can invite them to that game or vice versa?
I think it's just an unfamiliar browsing environment. I think we're so used to seeing a list of names with the games next to it. But
right.
I mean, the things that I still want to know is how much the different things are going to be. Are the PS1 games going to be a different price from Flow and Blast Factor and Criminal Crackdown? I mean, you know, we're going to see. What I'd like is like, you know, $5 games, $10, you know, like really structured, kind of more the way that the Wii's going, like Nintendo's doing, and not this sort of crazy charge whatever you want thing that's going on live.
They did show the store and it looked a lot like iTunes. Like iTunes is the first thing I thought of when I saw it.
Tab system across the bottom.
Even the graphical look of it was very iTunes.
I thought it was well organized though.
Yeah.
For me, more better organized than Xbox Live.
Yeah, Xbox Live's marketplace is
And
organized.
you know what's
pretty
really
shoddily.
significant? It tells you in dollars and cents.
Yeah,
Right.
Because
Yeah, that was
even
good.
Nintendo is doing like points, so you don't really. It's like this veil between you, and you don't really know what you're spending. I was surprised that the PS1 games aren't playable on PS3 yet.
They're playable on
Yeah, so I
PSP.
did hear that right.
Yeah.
You download them onto your PS3 and then spit them to your PSP from
And that's
there.
the only place you can play them for now. Later on, it's going to be PS3. You can use your PSP to view pictures and movies and things that are on your PS3, but now only if you're at your wireless hub. It's kind of pointless until you can do it from anywhere. It's kind of like what I want to look at what's on my PS3 from the bathroom.
Yeah, you're going to be able to sit on the crapper and watch video.
Yeah, actually.
What, like you're just in the middle of something like, oh, I'm just gonna port this to my PSP real quick so I can go take a squeege.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to set that whole thing up to like, oh, I can watch this, 2-minute trailer?
Maybe.
It's going to take a minute for me to set up.
It's going to be more when it's more than trailers.
Yeah,
it's going to be, I mean, presumably there's going to be movie content or TV content eventually if they're really going to push down
It's
that
more
road.
for the future. I mean, when you can actually log in from anywhere in the world and look at all your stuff on your PSP.
They showed the web browser, which, fine. It was a cool looking web browser, but what was a really big deal, and they did it in a really understated way, was it was running YouTube.
Yeah.
Which proves that it plays Flash video and it plays something that's really big right now, and as a browser, it's up to date enough to do the kind of stuff that people want to do on a browser.
And everyone who poo-poos the inclusion of a web browser on a next-gen console,
Me.
I think that once again, you're like, why would you think that's not a good feature? I mean, like seeing that today, a lot of people are going to use that. I think.
You can take it or leave it, right? Like,
Well, I just would leave it. I don't necessarily. I mean, there's at no point have I ever thought, boy, I need to look at something on the internet on my TV. I
You'll
just
walk
turn
over,
around.
place with a keyboard.
Yeah, I turn
But
around
I think,
and type
again,
it in.
to the YouTube point, I think being able to go, hey, stick something from YouTube up on the big TV. I think it's more about that than reading one app on your TV,
There was a focus here the first time we saw a couple of the downloadable games. One was, I think, a pretty close, like Geometry Wars or
Mutant Storm, I
Storm
thought.
ripoff.
Mutant Storm.
Blast
But you could,
Factor.
Yeah, you use twitch the controller and it rotates the view. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot like those games. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
easy. It's nothing innovative, really. But
Yeah, I mean, it looked okay. And what'd you think? So David Jaffe got up and showed Criminal Crackdown.
How did he describe it? As like it was something meets basketball, and all I could think was RC Pro-Am.
I thought it was RC Pro-Am as well. He mentioned Bomberman. He mentioned a couple other old party games.
It reminds me
Twisted Metal.
Yeah, you're right. It's more like it's not really like Bomberman. Though.
How much would you pay for that?
$5.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, in multiplayer is a big deal, big
Four
part of
player
it too.
split screen.
Supposed to be, yeah. So
Online. I think it looks fun.
yeah.
PS3 is a big piece of the Sony puzzle that they've been hinting about for years. It's what the PSX was kind of supposed to be, and it's also, now we know what all the stuff missing from PSP is all about.
Yeah.
It's like they were obviously thinking of all this stuff when the PSP was conceived and put out, and all this, I think a bunch of the stuff we've been really frustrated with the PSP is because the PS3 didn't exist yet, and they weren't doing it on PC.
No, wait. No, you know, like a girl. You know, throw like a girl. So what you can do, line up both feet, and both hands. So you get a lot of power.
Leverage.
You ready? A lot of power. You ready? Hard as you can, right? And then you go. Oh! See? That's the way.
See that arm, Robert?
Oh!
Oh, Dana! Robert, look at what she's playing.
Oh, wow.
Look at this.
What a coincidence.
It is bully.
Have I can't position? I guess it's... Hey there.
You look like you like bad boys.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about it, like the way that whole genre was so like exciting when
when it came out, and you remember like that feeling of playing Grand Theft Auto 3 for the first time, and it was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I've never played anything like this. And it instantly just freeze-dried into something that people have gone back to over and over again, and it's like become so expected. And I like that Bully does something really new and focused with it.
And San Andreas is so big.
Yeah, San Andreas
like,
is huge.
Daunting. Like you
Yeah.
go in and you're like, it's gonna take 100 hours before I'm remotely
Right.
close to like a majority percentage.
What do you guys think of the setting? Like, compared to GTA, it's a lot more realistic. Compared to Warriors, it's like, you know, not like movie-based. It's just like, it's something we've all kind of experienced to a degree, at least.
Yeah, people really turn out to be nice. I mean, and the whole the whole thing is like the kids seem like they're a bunch of brats, but really it's the adults that are terrible. You know, the English teacher's a drunk, the coach is a perv. They're all but still,
Tries to
it's
help
like,
you out.
they're busy telling you, you know, that you got to shape up, but they're all a mess.
Better keep this out of harm's way.
Are you gonna be all right, sir?
Rockstar's the master of smart juvenile humor.
And I actually think it's getting to the point to where they're getting so good at like coming up with a story idea that the dialogue, when it's kind of rocky or flat, starts to feel like, man, it's so almost there that it's kind of glaringly obvious that it's not quite up to movie quality, you know. But it's still way better than what you normally get out of a game.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about the structure of going to classes each day, running by a clock, having to be in bed by 2 a.m. or you just pass out? Do you guys like that structure? Like, did it bother you at all at any point?
It didn't bother. I really liked like you're off in town doing something terrible and destructive or doing a mission, and all of a sudden the school bell rings and I think, oh man, I don't want to miss English class. I would actually find myself like running to campus, even getting caught so that I could go to class.
Yes, I would get busted all the time, so I wouldn't have to actually bother going to class, so they would just deposit me at the front.
Yeah, you have a half hour to get there after the bell rings,
Right.
and that's not enough time sometimes. And yeah, you have to.
But then you have
book
the
it
2
there.
hours of class to like,
Right, to actually get in there.
Yeah.
I feel bad getting in late.
Good job. Keep paying attention.
I was really, really bad at PE, dodgeball, as in real life. I suck
The
at
key
it.
to that, jump and then throw.
Yeah, well,
You'll get them every time.
I didn't even think about catching. Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about something really
Everyone on this team is special. There's only gonna be one of us victorious. Me!
This is my time to shine, so just know that!
I can't wait to tell my mom we won.
The paper route, it's just like Paperboy.
Yeah.
It's kind of in 3D. You're just locking on to a mailbox. You have dogs chasing you.
Right.
You have like, people walking in the way.
You're hitting, if you hit people with your paper, then you have the violence against adults, and then it shoots into red, and you have cops chasing after you. Yeah.
And then, do you guys like the main character, Jimmy? Like, is he a bully? Is he not? You know, is he rides
He's a
that fine
mercenary.
line?
Jimmy's a mercenary.
I think he's kind of a jerk, but he
certainly does a lot of things that would back that up.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone else seems to be much more of a jerk. He's kind of reacting to the situation.
Well, or more like the mission you're on, the enemy is more of a jerk for that period.
My gym is up in flames, look!
Damn, how'd that happen?
As if you don't know! You're a degenerate to think I trusted you!
It wasn't me. Yeah, I'm no saint, but I tried to bring order to the school, to stop the bullying.
Ha! Bullying? I don't care about bullying! In fact, I encourage bullying!
That's right.
Builds moral fiber, makes men!
Yeah!
'Cause you didn't make the team, you had to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, you bully! You're a pig! You ruined my life!
And then like I love like, you just kissing the girls, you know, like that like they're all like willing to. You just give them a flower, like, oh, let's
And it
make
gives
out.
you your
and then-
health bonus.
And it gives just like GTA taught us. you know.
Exactly.
The one thing we've learned from that.
So now you just kiss them.
You must have done by now the mascot mission. Have you done that yet?
Yep.
I thought that was great. You do this mission where you steal the football mascot's uniform.
After you've enraged him.
After you've enraged him, and he's a bull, so he
And
charges
you're running
at you.
around on the field, and all the football players are chasing after you because they hate you, and
But-
so you're trying to make this guy mad.
But once you get out there in the field with your, you know, when you're in disguise, you're supposed to sabotage the game. And anytime the jocks see you, you have to either do the dance or they bust you, kind of. So you do this stupid like mascot dance where he's like.
I love it!
jocks keep their game sports drink in a cooler and handset, if you will.
This is too much for me.
Let's talk scores a minute. Like, you gave it pretty high score. I did. Why did you go to the very top, whereas Dana and I both are kind of a step below that? Like, what about it set it apart?
I just really felt like where most games settle for being a collection of features or a couple of great fun ideas, they really nailed doing something so completely different with it and did it so well that I don't think anyone else out there can match that kind of game. I mean, very few developers out there are capable of just inventing their own style of game and pulling it off to the degree that they did. And I actually think it was the most fun I had playing a game this year, honestly. Like, I played Okami for EGM, and I love that game, but this was just closer to me for some reason. I just really had a good time the whole time. I'd probably go back and still play around, and because once you finish the whole game, you got the endless summer, and you can just go screw with people and maybe not feel so bad about messing with the characters and stuff, and just finish everything.
And isn't that the truest part of childhood, the end of summer, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I think we're good.
Cool. Whoa.
What you think you're doing, Brooksy? What do you think you're doing to my boys, huh? Huh? What do you think, you like that? Yeah, that feels good, doesn't it? Yeah!